So, the last time we read this verse, purport. So, I'll be explaining today. So, in 12th verse, it is described about the fate of those who do not correctly worship the Supreme Cause of all. So, in now Mantra 13, it explains about a fate awaits those who do worship correctly and are guided by Vedas. So, the Lord is called as a Sambhavat. He doesn't depend upon anybody. He is independent. So how one can worship him? One who gets knowledge which is coming from Lord directly through his bona fide representatives. So when we learn from them, then we learn the right way of worshipping Supreme Lord. And by worshipping right way, we achieve the perfection of human life. That is, we enter in the abode of the Lord. So in this purport, Prabhupada explaining how to worship Supreme Lord, from whom we will know correctly worshiping Supreme. Is the thing we learn. And why we should not worship anybody else. So that is also explained. So what happens if worship somebody else? Then what is the result of worshipping the Supreme Lord correctly? So any position for social welfare workers, those who are doing for humanity, for the sake of society, what is their fate? And then examples of correct worship. So what is logic behind this worship? And who doesn't follow this worship and refuses it? Then how we should correctly worship Krishna, and what are the benefits of perfection of correct worship? And at the end, the quotations of correct worship are given. So, worshipping Supreme Lord correctly, this knowledge we get from a bona fide acharya who is coming in disciple succession. These acharyas are not disturbed by material changes. They are dhiras, they are equipoised. So from them, we should learn how to worship Supreme Lord. And why only from them we should learn? Because they are bona fide. So they are not going to concoct anything from their mind. Whatever they are going to teach, they are going to just repeat the words of Supreme Lord. Their relations are in line with the parampara. So these are the qualifications of the acharyas, from whom one should accept the process of devotional service. Then the second question comes, why should I worship Krishna only? I can worship somebody else. So, by worshipping somebody else, we will not achieve the perfection. Because there are many spiritual masters who are not coming in Sampradaya. They concoct their own philosophy. They make somebody else as a god, or they become themselves as a god. So, such a people, if we follow, then we cannot achieve the perfection. because they are not going to worship, and they are not coming in parampara, they are not following scriptures. So such a fellowship will not result in the right destination. So Prabhupada is giving example. If somebody purchases ticket of Bombay, then that person cannot imagine that he is going to go to Calcutta. If you boarded a wrong train, then your destination also will be wrong. So if we are following somebody who is not in parampara, then our success will not be same. So that will be different. So by worshipping wrongly, one loses the chance of going back to God. And such a worship which is not demanding surrender to Krishna, it attracts the people who are not intelligent. Such a foolish people will get attracted to it. They are wrong, they think that they are right. So in that way, nobody can correct them. They become doctor. Then what is the correct worship, method of worship? Correct worship is worshipping Krishna. As Brahmasita says, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigra, Anadiradir Gunanda Sarvakaraka. So he is the cause and cause of all causes. So worshipping him is a right worship. So some people say worship other gods, some people say do social service. So these social service people, they are very narrow-minded. They make their own classes and they are racist. They are not benevolent to every living entity. They have their chosen area of doing service to others. So that way, then humans have soul, animals don't have soul. So they kind of philosophy is propagated. And they say human beings, but they kill animals. So for such a people, although Krishna has come and he has taught the right way of worship, they will not follow the right path of devotions. Then what is the example for correct worship? That is given Arjuna's example. So Arjun, before getting into devotional service, he was disturbed. And he was having affection, misplaced affection. And he wanted to be very philanthropic, a benevolent soul. But when he heard from Krishna, Bhagavad, then he got enlightened and he changed his perspective. He became intelligent, he became calm, and he changed decision and he worshipped Krishna. So such a change happens if somebody hears from Dhira people. Their perspective of life changes. Their priorities they change. And they achieve right goal. So what is the logic behind worshipping Supreme? So Vedanta Sutra says, from Supreme, everything has immunity. And that Supreme Lord is Abhigya. He knows everything in and out. Therefore, we should worship the Supreme Lord. Because by serving him, everybody gets nourished and satisfied. So the example is given about the tree. If you want to nourish the leaves, the branches, the flowers, so we should not water to leaves or branches or flowers. But if you put water to the root, then automatically every branch, every leaf, every flower will get nourished. So by worshipping Krishna, by surrendering to Krishna, everybody who is connected, all living entities are connected with the Lord. They all will be satisfied. So which people don't follow this path of worship? So Prabhupada tells here, the foolish people, they don't follow. And why they don't want to follow? Because they deny the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. And they don't want to surrender to Him. And that's why they refuse. And being such a adamant, these people don't pay heed to even a bona fide acharyas, their instructions. So this way, they will not worship the God. So the correct way of worshipping Supreme Lord is hearing from bona fide spiritual masters. And they speak not their mental concoction, but they speak the real truth given by Lord through His scriptures or the purity rules. So under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master, under his teachings, when we perform devotional service, that will yield perfection. And that is the correct way of worship. So what are the benefits of worshipping Supreme Lord under the guidance of spiritual master or bona fide spiritual master? So Lord will help that disciple from within. And that disciple will get attracted to Supreme Lord. His heart will get cleansed. Nashtaprayeshu abhidreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. So like that, when he hears from bona fide spiritual masters, his heart will be clean. All unwanted desires, those will be evaporated. So by surrendering to bona fide spiritual master, by practicing devotional service, one's lower modes, they are removed by the grace of Supreme Lord. And one gets situated in mode of focus. So, is any obstacle to get purified in devotional service because of our background? No. You may have any background. The process is so pure and so potent that it can purify anybody, the lowest of lowest creature. If they come in a bona fide sampradaya, they take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and they follow under the guidance of spiritual master genuinely, then at once they will become purified. So the example is given in this verse. Kirat Umuna Andhra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhira Shumbha Yavana Khasa Daya Enne Chapapa Idapada Shrashya Shuddhanta Tasme Prabhvishnu. Even the most abnormal people, if they practice the path of devotion under the guidance with the best possible sincerity, they will be purified. And in that purified way, if they worship Supreme Lord, it will give them happiness and they will be enthusiastic. Tesham antagatam papa jananam punya karmana te dandamo nimukto bhajanti mam dridam. So, under the guidance of spiritual master, at once they will stop performing sinful activities. And because they have left sinful activities, their heart will be purified. And with purified heart, if they practice devotional service, then they'll be firmly situated in spiritual life. So that is the power of getting spiritual knowledge from a bona fide spiritual master and sincerely practicing the teachings given to us. So this science is revealed by Supreme Lord. Lies in the heart. The process is so beneficial, even the low-caste person can be uplifted. So the proof of correct worships are given in Bhagavad Gita. All quotations are here. Varapuram, Brahma Samhita, Moksha. So the conclusion is that one who decides to worship Krishna is called as a Buddha. He is the most intelligent person. So the result of worshipping Supreme Lord, one under the guidance of spiritual master, one gets separation from this material world and he enters in the loving devotional service in the abode of Supreme Lord. So that is the result one achieves by practicing Krishna consciousness under a spiritual master. So now we'll go to mantra 14.
Excuse me, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, in the previous slide, there is one thing called moksha dharma. In the last slide. Proofs of correct worship. Yes, Prabhuji. What is this
Yeah.
moksha dharma, Prabhuji?
For us, the moksha is getting out of the entanglement of material world, not entering in Brahmajyoti. That is moksha for others. So there are 5 kinds of muktis are there. Except Sayujya, other muktis are accepted by Vaishnavas. Samipya, Sarupya, Srashti, Sarukya, but not Sayujya.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So now we'll move to number 14. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastad vedo bhyam saha vinashena mrityam tirtva sambhutyat amrita ashmate. You should know perfectly the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, and his transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes, as well as the temporary material creation with its temporary demigods, men and animals. When one knows these, he surpasses death, the ephemeral cosmic manifestation with it. And in the eternal kingdom of God, he enjoys his eternal life of bliss and knowledge.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yes.
But by so-called advancement of knowledge, human civilization has created many material things, including spaceships and atomic energy. Yet it has failed to create a situation in which people need not die, take birth again, become old, or suffer from disease. Whenever an intelligent man raises the question of these miseries before a so-called scientist, the scientist very clearly replies that material science is progressing and that ultimately it will be possible to render man deathless, ageless, and diseaseless. Such answers prove the scientist's gross ignorance of material nature. In material nature, everyone is under the stringent laws of matter and must pass through 6 stages of existence: birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, deterioration, and finally death. No one in contact with material nature can be beyond these 6 laws of transformation. Therefore, no one, whether demigod, man, animal, or plant, can survive forever in the material world. The duration of life varies according to species. Lord Brahma, the chief living being within this material universe, lives for millions and millions of years, while a minute germ lives for some hours only. But no one in the material world can survive eternally. Things are born or created under certain conditions. They stay for some time, and if they continue to live, they grow, procreate, gradually dwindle, and finally vanish. According to these laws, even the Brahmas, of which there are millions in different universes, are all liable to death, either today or tomorrow. Therefore, therefore, the entire material universe is called Mrityaloka, the place of death. Material scientists and politicians are trying to make this place deathless because they have no information of the deathless spiritual nature. This is due to their ignorance of the Vedic literature, which contains full knowledge confirmed by mature transcendental experience. Unfortunately, modern man is averse to receiving knowledge from the Vedas, Puranas, and other scriptures. From the Vishnu Purana 6.7.61, we receive the following information. Vishnu Sakshit Paraprokta Kshetra Nakya Tata Para Avidya Karma Samagnanya Vidya Shaktir Ishyate. Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, possesses different energies known as Para, superior, and Apara, inferior. The living entities belong to the superior energy. The material energy in which we are presently entangled is the inferior energy. The material creation is made possible by this energy, which covers the living entities with ignorance, avidya, and induces them to perform fruitive activities. Yet, there is another part of Lord's superior energy that is different from both this material, inferior energy, and the living entities. That superior energy constitutes the eternal deathless abode of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.20. Parastasmattu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. All the material planets, upper, lower, and intermediate, including the Sun, Moon, and Venus, are scattered throughout the universe. These planets exist only during the lifetime of Brahma. Some lower planets, however, are vanquished after the end of one day of Brahma and are again created during the next day of Brahma. On the upper planets, time is calculated differently. One of our years is equal to only 24 hours or one day and night on many of the upper planets. The 4 ages of Earth, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, last only 12,000 years according to the time scale of the upper planets. Such a length of time multiplied by 1,000 constitutes one day of Brahma, and one night of Brahma is the same. Such days and nights accumulate into months and years, and Brahma lives for 100 such years. At the end of Brahma's life, the complete universal manifestation is vanquished. Those living beings who reside on higher planets like the Sun and the Moon, as well as those on Mrityaloka, this Earth planet, and also those who live on lower planets, all are merged into the waters of devastation during the night of Brahma. During this time, no living beings or species remain manifest, although spiritually they continue to exist. This unmanifested stage is called Avyakta. Again, when the entire universe is vanquished at the end of Brahma's lifetime, there is another Avyakta state. But beyond these two unmanifested states is another unmanifested state, the spiritual atmosphere or nature. There are a great number of spiritual planets in this atmosphere, and these planets exist eternally, even when all the planets within this material universe are vanquished at the end of Brahma's life. There are many material universes, each under the jurisdiction of a Brahma, and this cosmic manifestation within the jurisdiction of the various Brahmas is but a display of 1/4 of the energy of Lord, Ekapat Vibhuti. This is the inferior energy. Beyond the jurisdiction of Brahma is the spiritual nature, which is called Tripat Vibhuti. 3/4 of the Lord's energy. This is the superior energy or para prakriti. The predominating supreme person residing within the spiritual nature is Lord Sri Krishna. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.22, he can be approached only by unalloyed devotional service and not by the process of gnana, yoga, or karma. The karmis or fruitive workers can elevate themselves to the Svargaloka planets, which include the sun and the moon. Gnanis and yogis can attain still higher planets such as Maharloka, Tapoloka, or Brahmaloka. And when they become still more qualified through devotional service, they can enter into the spiritual nature, either the illuminating cosmic atmosphere of the spiritual sky, Brahman, or the Vaikuntha planets, according to their qualification. It is certain, however, that no one can enter into the spiritual Vaikuntha planets without being trained in devotional service. On the material planets, everyone from Brahma down to the ant is trying to lord it over material nature, and this is the material disease. As long as this material disease continues, the living entity has to undergo the process of bodily change, whether he takes the form of a man, demigod, or animal. He ultimately has to endure an unmanifested condition during the two devastations, the devastation during the night of Brahma and the devastation at the end of Brahma's life. If we want to put an end to this process of repeated birth and death, as well as the concomitant factors of old age and disease, we must try to enter the spiritual planets where we can live eternally in the association of Lord Krishna or his plenary expansions, his Narayana forms. Lord Krishna or his plenary expansions dominate every one of these innumerable planets, a fact confirmed in the Shruti mantras. Eko Vashi Sarvagah Krishna, Vidya Ekopi San Bahudayo Vabhati. Gopala Tapani, Upanishad 1.3.21. No one can dominate Krishna. It is the conditioned soul who tries to dominate material nature and is instead subjected to the laws of material nature and the sufferings of repeated birth and death. The Lord comes here to re-establish the principles of religion, and the basic principle is the development of an attitude of surrender to Him. This is the Lord's last instruction in the Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja. Give up all other processes and just surrender unto me alone. Unfortunately, foolish men have misinterpreted this prime teaching and misled the masses of people in diverse ways. People have been urged to open hospitals, but not to educate themselves to enter into the spiritual kingdom by devotional service. They have been taught to take interest only in temporary relief work, which can never bring real happiness to the living entity. They start varieties of public and semi-governmental institutions to tackle the devastating power of nature, but they don't know how to pacify insurmountable nature. Many men are advertised as great scholars of the Bhagavad Gita, but they overlook the Gita's message by which material nature can be pacified. Powerful nature can be pacified only by the awakening of God consciousness, as clearly pointed out in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14. In this mantra, Sri Isopanisad teaches that one must perfectly know both Sambhuti, the personality of Godhead, and Vinasha, the temporary material manifestation, side by side. By knowing the material manifestation alone, one cannot be saved. For in the course of nature, there is devastation at every moment. Ahani 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 bhutani gachantiha yama layam. Nor can one be saved from these devastations by the opening of hospitals. One can be saved only by complete knowledge of the eternal life of bliss and awareness. The whole Vedic scheme is meant to educate men in this art of attaining eternal life. People are often misguided by temporary attractive things based on sense gratification, but service rendered to the sense objects is both misleading and degrading. We must therefore save ourselves and our fellow men in the right way. There is no question of liking or disliking the truth. It is there. If we want to be saved from repeated birth and death, we must take to the devotional service of the Lord. There can be no compromise, for this is a matter of necessity. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So here, knowing Sambhuti and Asambhuti. So, mantra 13, we got to know the right way of understanding Supreme Lord by the guidance of Bonafide Spiritual Master. Now, by knowing that Supreme Lord, what one does and what is the benefit. So, by knowing Supreme Lord is devotional service, and we cannot know him by scientific attempts or temporary relief. So, by social service or advancement in material science, one cannot understand the Supreme Lord, but only by devotional service. So, the main problem is death. In material life, death is a problem, and how one can solve that problem. So, there is a right way and there is a wrong way. And by wrong way, the attempts will fail. But in a right way, if we solve this problem of death, then that attempt will be successful. So, what is a failure? The attempt of failure. So, these attempts, failing attempts, who undertakes? So, there are two kinds of people. First is scientists, and second is social workers. So, how the scientist wants to solve the problem? So, scientists, by their advancement in knowledge, by creating spaceships, they want to come out of the cycle of birth and death. Means they want to conquer the death. And always they promise people that we are in progress. Although the scientists, they are failing one after another, but they think that we are progressing. They will not accept that they are not intelligent. So scientists are endeavoring scientifically, but social workers, what they want to do? They want to help people thinking they are the bodies. So when they don't know who is that person is, then their help becomes meaningless. So if they think that the person is body, then their best help to people by giving hospitals, by giving jobs, by giving clothes, by giving food. So all this, they are doing for the beneficial of the society, but this will not yield satisfaction. The same people for whom they are sacrificing their life, those people will not mind to take their life. Like some great politicians or social workers, they tried to save the country by giving independence. But after getting independence, the same citizens, they have killed them, they shooted them. So that way, helping people on bodily level will not give success. Then why they attempt? Because they have no idea of spiritual world. They think this world is all in all. So they want to remain in this world for a long period of time. Rather, getting out of the world is not their prime intention. So such a people are not aware of scriptures, and they are avoid Vedas and all. So that's why they don't have idea of spiritual world. Then their attempts on external bodily level will not help. So whatever they try to save others, still their attempts will fail. Because the material nature, the laws of material nature are so great that human beings cannot control them. They have sent satellites in the sky. They can predict where is volcano, where is tsunami, where is this. But they only know the problems, but they cannot stop it. So people are making advancement to go to moon. People are making advancement to go to Mars and all those things. But they don't know what is there on the earth completely. The Amazon forest or the Antarctic islands, they don't have any idea about it. And they are thinking of going to moon and Mars. So forget about everything else. Within their own bodies, they don't know the change is happening. And nobody is taking permission from them. Or nobody is, need their sanctions. The body is growing on its own. So there are 6 stages in the body: birth, growth, maintenance, reproduction, decrease, decay, and ultimate death. From Brahma to the smallest of ants, everybody goes through this change. That's why this world is called as a Nityaloka. And these people, they don't follow the injunctions of scriptures. They overlook message of Gita. Although they are politicians, they write commentaries also. But they don't capture the right message from Gita. So then there are devastations. So there are 4 kinds of devastations: Nitya, Naimittik, Pralay, Atyantik. These are the 4 devastations happening. There, even if they want to attempt to come out of this, their attempts are not directed towards Supreme Lord. So that will not give them any solution. So as long as people are gratifying their senses, they are degrading. And such a people who don't have any sense control, they cannot uplift others. So these people, their endeavor to solve the problem of death is going to fail. So what is the right way to face death, to solve the repetition of birth and death? So that is possible by knowing Krishna. So Krishna tells in Gita, Janma karma cha me divam evam veti takta jaham deham punarjanma naitu manetu sarja. So Lord is given a way for us to stop repetition of birth and death. So these directly the words of Krishna, if somebody takes seriously, then at once he will be out of the clutches of repeated cycle of birth. And in material world, there are always the 4 devastations are happening: Nitya, Naimittik, Pralay, and Atyantik. But that is not happening in the spiritual world. Like in material world, the Mahavishnu breathes out, then all the Brahmandas come, and each Brahmanda, their Garbhodaksha Vishnu is there. From his navel, Brahmaji is created. Then Brahma creates the whole 14 planet system in that navel. And at the time when Brahmaji sleeps, then all these 14 planets, they are devastated. They submerge in the water. And again, next day when he gets up, then again he creates. So like that, Brahmaji is creating and the destruction is taking place at each day of Brahma's end. So within his day, there are 14 manvantras. So there also, devastations happens after every interval of one manvantara. So like that, these are the destructions are taking place. So that is happening in material world. But in spiritual world, there is no such a devastation. The supreme world, the spiritual world is as it is. It is bereft of floods or these all those calamities which are there in the material world. And in that world, spiritual world, Krishna and his devotees, they reside. So if we desire to go back to Godhead, then we must avoid karma kanda, jnana kanda things. But only by worshipping Supreme Lord, we can go back to God. By karmis and jnanis, karmis achieve at most the heavenly planets. Jnanis may go to the upper planets above Sarga, Mahar, Jana, Tapa, Brahmalu. But still, they are all are under the clutches of birth and death. Beyond that, we want to go to the spiritual world, which is 3/4. The material world is 1/4. So to enter in that world, what is the qualification? That we should take the training of devotional service under a bona fide spiritual master, and we should surrender to Supreme Lord. So by this way, we can become qualified to enter spiritual world. Somebody can read this?
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yes.
Srimad Bhagavatam 12.4, the 4 categories of universal annihilation. The 4 types of pralaya. Nitya pralaya, constant annihilation. This refers to the continuous daily destruction that occurs, such as the death of living beings, sleep, or the moment-to-moment changes in the body and world. Naimittika pralaya, occasional annihilation. This is the dissolution that happens at the end of the Lord Brahma's day, a kalpa, lasting for 1,000 Chaturyugas. It is characterized by severe droughts and floods that submerge the 3 lower worlds, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, Lokas. During this time, Brahma sleeps, but the universe is not completely destroyed. Prakritika pralaya, material annihilation. This occurs at the end of Brahma's life, 100 years of his time. The entire universe, including all material elements, gross and subtle, and the planetary systems is merged back into the material nature, Prakriti, and subsequently the material nature merges into the Supreme Lord. Atyantika pralaya, absolute or final annihilation. This is the individual soul's ultimate liberation, moksha, from the cycle of birth and death, samsara. It is the total destruction of the devotee's material bondage, achieving a spiritual state of communion with the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So this Nitya Pralaya means our body is constantly changing. The cells are forming, the old cells are dying. So like that, our body is changing from childhood to adult to old age. So within this life only, we change our body, day by day. And then when the Manvantaras change and when Brahmaji sleeps, that day, everything gets submerged. So that pralaya happens within the stem of the navel, stem of the lotus which has sprout from the navel of Garbhodakshashu. So in that, this Naimittika Pralaya happens. And Prakritik Pralaya happens when Mahavishnu, he breathes in. When he breathes in, then the entire creation is winded up and it remains in a sleeping state, and that again gets created when Mahavishnu breathes out. So that is called as a Prakritik. But the last Pralaya is Atyantik Pralaya. That is individual. So when individual leaves the material world, so that is a destruction for his material life. At once he has liberated from the clutches of this material cycle of birth and death. He directly goes to the abode of Lord. So that Pralaya is called the absolute annihilation for that individual soul. For him, the material world is annihilated at once. He is not a part of this material world where the pralayas are repeatedly happening again and again, again and again. So he is liberated from that pralaya. So that final pralaya is called as a Atyantik Pralaya. So for devotees, this is the moksha. Yeah, somebody can give.
Prabhuji, can you read it? SB 12.4 The four categories of universal annihilation. 1000 cycles of 4 ages constitute one day of Brahma, and each day of Brahma, called a kalpa, contains within it the lifetimes of 14 manus. The duration of Brahma's night is the same as of his day. During his night, Brahma sleeps and the three planetary systems meet destruction. This is called Naimittika or occasional annihilation. When Brahma's lifespan of 100 years is finished, there occurs the Prakritika or total material annihilation. At that time, the 7 elements of the material nature, beginning with the Mahat in the beginning with the Mahat and the entire universal egg composed of them are destroyed. When a person achieves knowledge of the Absolute, he understands factual reality. He perceives the entire created universe as separate from the Absolute and therefore unreal. That is called the Atyantika or final annihilation or liberation. At every moment, time invisibly transforms the bodies of all created beings and all other manifestations of matter. This process of transformation causes the living entity to undergo the constant annihilation of birth and death. Those possessed of the subtle vision state that all creatures, including Brahma himself, are always subject to generation and annihilation. Material life means subjugation to birth and death or generation and annihilation. The only boat suitable for crossing the ocean of material existence, which is otherwise impossible to cross, is the boat of submissive hearing of the nectarian pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So, if you want to say from Nitya and Naimittik Pralaya, so we can do that by only paying oral reception to the pastimes of Krishna. So I have sent 2 documents to all of you that describes the creation, process of creation and the time calculation. So this is a time calculation. So what is one breath of Mahavishnu is called as a Mahakal. Okay. This is 311 trillion years. Daytime of and Lord Brahma. And in that, there are 71 Chaturyugas of one Manvantara. So in one, there are 71 Chaturyugas. In one Chaturyuga, there is a culmination of Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So it gets multiplied. So our Brahma is currently at the age of 50 of his life. So like that, the time calculation is given here. Satyuga is this much, and so those who are interested in understanding how the time calculation is, they can go through this document. And the another document is of creation. So how the entire creation takes place. So this is all from Brahmaseta only, nothing from outside. So Lord Krishna, then he incarnates, first incarnation is Balaram, from him the Sankarshan Vasudeva Nivutta, and from him the Mahavishnu. So this is all 3/4 universe till Mahavishnu, whatever is there is that is 3/4 creation of the Lord. There is no annihilation, no pralaya is happening there. But in Mahavishnu, from the beginning of Mahavishnu, when he breathes out and when he breathes in, that is called as Mahakal. So when he breathes out, there are many Brahmandas, they come out. And in that Brahmanda, there is a Garbhodaksh Vishnu. And from Garbhodaksh Vishnu, the Brahma takes birth on the navel. And then Brahma creates all the floating pregnancy system. So this way the creation happens. And just to illustrate you in the diagram, so this is a creation. So till Brahma Jyoti, this is a so till here, till Brahma Jyoti, this is whole is 3/4. And this Garbhodaksh Vishnu and Mahavishnu, this is 1/4. And in that Garbhodaksh Vishnu, this is all the creation is happening. So the navel, there are every Manvantara, one. Once it happens 71 times in one Manvantara, this annihilation, all these things take place. So that time, till only Swargalok gets devoured. But at the end of the day of Brahma, the water reaches till Satyalok and everything gets annihilated. Then again, when next day Brahmaji awakes, then again he creates the entire 14-planet system. So like that, these are the layers of false ego, air, water, earth, like that. So that is consisting of Brahman. Like that, this is a creation. So to get out of this creation is very easy for devotees. The easiest path for us, you know, compared to the time of Mahakalpa, that is infinite time actually. So if we just give some years of our life, we will be saved from such a long, lives without Lord. That is a punishment only actually. There is no glory in staying in material world. So we should understand that we should perform devotional service very seriously, submissively, and that one will achieve the authentic pralaya. That is, we will be out of this cycle of pralayas. So that opportunity is there for the people who take shelter of Krishna's divine pastimes and submit to spiritual master and surrender to Krishna. So that way one can completely come out of the cycle of birthing. So when Yaksha, he asks question to our Yudhishthira Maharaj, what is the most astonishing thing in this world? So Maharaj Yudhishthira gives the answer that ahni ani bhutani gachanti yamalayam sheshastharam ishyanti kim acharya matapa. So he tells, if you want to know what is the most wonderful thing in the planet, that is not seven wonders, Taj Mahal or other whatever the seven wonders are there. That is not the wonder. The greatest wonder, as per devotee, is the people are dying and they see in front of their eyes the people are dying. But those who remain, they think that death is not going to touch them. They will be deathless. So this is most astonishing. So people practice material life as if they are going to die tomorrow. They want to do sanctification as if they are going to die. But when it comes to practice spiritual life, they feel that I have a lot of time. I will perform devotional service tomorrow, day after tomorrow, or next life, or after Pralaya, after Mahakal, next Mahakal. So that is not serious. Person is not serious of devotional service. So devotional service has to be taken and performed at this very moment. So if we give our little time in Kali Yuga, it's very easy. People are living only 100 years. That is just ideal 100 years. People are not living 100 also. They are living 70 or 80. And in that also half life goes in sleeping and education and so many things. So very less time remains for Krishna. And people perform little bit devotional service, they think that Lord is not reciprocated. For material degrees, we spend so much time and energy, and we have filled with so many papers and so many things we have done to just get a paper of degree. So to go to back to God, we should have some patience, and we should not be lethargic. We should be with God-given strength and with the best of abilities. We should try to surrender to Krishna and understand His glories from pure devotees' mouths, Prabhupada's mouth, or Guru's or Acharya's mouth. So that way, if we give one life to Krishna, means give whatever time we have to Krishna, then we will be saved from such a trouble. of repetition of birth and death, Mahavishnu is inhaling, exhaling, will be saved actually. So this path is, who accepts this path is really interesting. So now, next text.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one question. Can I ask?
Yes.
Prabhuji, this is question regarding the social workers, though they have fought for our nation. So, because they fought, so we got independence. So, at that time, I think, though they don't know about Krishna consciousness, or even if they know, they don't follow, but they fought for the nation. So, we got independence from the Ingraz community. So is it any wrong with them that they fought for the nation and we got independence? Because of them, we are able to live safely in our country.
So I will give simple example. If suppose a person is there, he has a son. His son is lost in a fair. So four kinds of people meet that boy. One person sees that the boy is hungry, they give him food. Second person sees that boy has torn clothes, he gives him clothes. Third person thinks that he should stand on his own leg, gives him job. And fourth person, what he does? He takes that boy and he drops him to his father. So you tell me who has done the best to that boy?
Fourth person.
No, that Prabhuji can answer.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji, fourth wala person.
Okay, now
Yeah.
you have any doubt about the other three? Do you think they are not doing perfect thing?
They have done as per their understanding.
They have done as per their understanding, and their understanding is not as per Krishna's understanding. So that understanding has no understanding. This
Yes.
we should understand. You know,
So I have also a similar question, Prabhuji. So it's like when Arjuna was in the battlefield, Krishna also said like one should perform based on the swadharma. So if somebody like Kshatriya, especially like our army and all, so for them the swadharma also like maybe fighting for the country, and then they do it like with maybe with the considering all those things whatever they think is there, and maybe and then because of that protection there will be multiple people like us who probably can go ahead with the Krishna conscious without worrying much about like maybe our safety and all those things, right? Because if country is protected by king and then maybe a virtuous king like maybe Modi ji and all, who is also like maybe seeing that okay maybe we should also have like we can perform our Krishna consciousness. So isn't it also like maybe Prabhuji aligned with like what Krishna was saying, like Swadharma for a Kshatriya?
all these varnas, if they perform for the benefit, spiritual benefit, the end result is samsiddhi haritosha, then that is called as a Daivi Varnashram, where people are aligned to the Lord's plan. But when people are independently doing something which appears exactly like the four ashramas, But there is missing is what? Haritosha. Missing of religion, missing the surrender to Supreme Lord, then that is called as a Asuri Varnashram. So people now have a lot of independence, but they are more degraded than when people were not independent. Were ruling when anybody was ruling, they did not give up their spirituality. But now India has such a great independence, and people are losing spirituality. They are blindly following the Western culture on the name of independence. So this independence is glorious or what? So devotees are the fortunate people. They are using it in right way. But what about others? How they are using it? So the masses of in Daivarnashram, the masses are protected. Like suppose in Daivarnashram, a Shudra, he will not work for mechanical companies or something like that. That Shudra will work in the city where the temple is the center. He may make pots, he may make some clothes, whatever he may does. So that all will be used, he may have a big flower garden. So that all will go to Lord only. A blacksmith person, goldsmith person, anybody, their lives are rotated around the Supreme Lord in the center. Even king also. He will also collect tax to offer it to God. So that way, even the lowest person of the category of Chandalas or Brahmanas, they will get charity Mahaprasad only. Even cows, they will eat Mahaprasad. Like in Jagannath Puri, whatever they prasad throw outside, the cows eat. And they get, unknowingly they get also devotional service. But now, in current age, when people are very independent, the most intellectual class, those who are in IT companies, where their money goes, they spend their money for movies, they spend their money for drinking, they spend their money to go to hotels and do parties and all. So they are getting money by illegal means whatever way they are getting. So they are spending it for a wrong cause only. So now we may think that they have 7-digit salary, but they have 70-digit sins, which they are earning through that earning. So that cannot be thing. We should not think that as an advance. There, in very time, a poor person may be poor, by our financial thing. He is earning suppose 5 rupees, but he is spending 4 rupees for Lord. And here people are earning 4 lakh rupees and they are not spending 1 rupee also for Lord. So who is poor? In terms of spirituality. Yes, please answer.
Yeah, those who's spending 4 rupees when he's earning 5 rupees versus who's like earning so much, not spending anything.
So who is poor then?
Yeah, is poor. The second type is poor.
So we should not see that we are independent, we are doing, but ultimately how much we are God conscious, how much we are Krishna conscious. So definitely now we are devotees, suppose. By mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are devotees. So we are taking advantage of this favorable situation. But what others are doing? Are they turning towards God? Or this independence is, they are indulging in more sense gratification. So definitely by mercy of devotees, they can get the benefit. That's why devotees' existence is for to benefit others. Like flowers in the garden, they cannot go to temple. If we don't pluck them and offer it to Krishna's lotus feet, then somebody else will pluck them and they will put in bouquet, and that bouquet will go to some person who is gratifying his senses. So that flower lost the chance of achieving perfection. The flowers which are supposed to go to temple, they are going. In Bangalore, there is such a big flower market is there. But do you think they are utilizing that flowers for any spiritual purpose? No. There is full big food industry is there. Domino's, McDonald's, this, that, whatever it is. Are they offering prasadam to people? No. There are such a big now transportation is there. Vande Bharat is there, or flights are there. But our people are traveling to holy places? No. We have so many gadgets now by which we can speak, we can audio, video, we can talk. The YouTube is there. Such a big facility is there. But which videos are uploaded in such a big facility? So devotees are putting nectar in that big poisonous ocean of YouTube. Now the devotees are putting some drops of nectar. So they are utilizing this facility for right cause. So we may think that now so many facilities are there, but the utility of that facility will define that facility is glorious or it's harmful. So we should not think that because we are using it right way. So certainly it's, if everybody uses like the way devotees are using, then this world will be a great place to perform devotions. So we should not think that our devotion service is happening at the mercy of any one of them. Then that is not right understanding. Devotional service is independent of independence or any other things. Social, economical, whatever these things are, devotional service doesn't depend upon any of these things. It's a matter of our desire. In any odd situation, one can perform devotional service. Like Prahlad, he was the extremist odd situation. But does devotional service stop there? No. He performed devotional service even though the entire world was controlled by Hiranyakashipu, his own father. He was single devotee. But he came out victorious. Now people have so much facilities, so many things. But it is a noose around their neck actually. They are tightening that noose to their neck and they are dying spiritually. So all this material advancement, not used for Lord or not used for devotional service, then it is degrading us more faster than usual speed. So we are not here to blame Prime Minister or anybody. They are all glorious people. And if we perform devotional service, certainly they will get benefit. Knowingly, unknowingly, they will get against it. The people who are on the border of India, Pakistan, or India, anywhere, they are protecting citizens, and in that we are there. So they will get some against it. But we should not think that because they are protecting, that's why I'm practicing devotional service. So devotional service is not depends upon the who is ruling or who is protecting you. Even the bomb falls on our head. If we chant Krishna's names, it will be glorious actually. But if they put us on bed of roses and we don't chant Krishna's name, then what is the use of that bed of roses?
Got it, Prabhuji.
So that is so devotional service is independent of anything. It's not that I am poor. If I have more money, then I will become a devotee. No, we should not. Material situations are not going to hamper our devotional service. Devotional service can be performed in any odd situation. Kunti Maharani says, let the calamities come. Because these calamities remind me about you. So these calamities are not calamities. But if opulences come and we forget Krishna, then that opulence is a calamity. You should know what is a calamity. What is poverty? We should relate it with the devotion sense. That how much I am offering it to Krishna, how much time I am spending for Krishna. That is opulence for devotee. So that way, we should give priority to Lord and the angas of spiritual practices. Okay, Mata.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So this is the last unit of praying to Isha to reveal himself. Satyasyapihitam mukham tattvam pushannam apavunam satyadharmaya drushtaye. Oh my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure. Please read.
May I read, Prabhu?
Yes.
In the Bhagavad Gita 14.27, the Lord explains his personal ray, Brahma Jyoti, dazzling effulgence of his personal form in this way. Brahmano hi pratisthaham amrutasya svasya yasya cha tasvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya kantikasya cha. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are the three aspects of the same absolute truth. Brahman is the aspect most easily pursued by the beginner. Paramatma, the super soul, is realized by those who have further progress, and Bhagavan realization is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.7, where Lord Krishna says that he is the ultimate concept of the absolute truth. Mattah parataram nanyati. Therefore, Krishna is the source of Brahma Jyoti as well as the all-pervading Paramatma. Later in the Bhagavad Gita 10.42, Krishna further explains, Athava bahunantena kim jnatena tavadina vishtadhyaham idam Krishnam ekam sena pitoje gatam. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Thus, by his one plenary expansion, the all-pervading Paramatma, the Lord maintains the complete material cosmic creation. He also maintains all manifestations of the spiritual world. Therefore, in this Shruti mantra of three Isopanisad, the Lord is addressed as Pushan, the ultimate maintainer. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is always filled with the transcendental bliss, Anandamayo Bhyasat. When he was present at Vrindavana in India 5000 years ago, he always remained in the transcendental bliss. Even from the beginning of his childhood pastimes, the killings of various demons such as Adha, Baka, Putana, and Pralamba were but leisure excursions for him. In his village of Vrindavana, he enjoyed himself with his mother, brother, and friends, and when he played the role of a naughty butter thief, all his associates enjoyed celestial bliss by his feeling. The Lord's frame as a butter thief is not reproachable, for by stealing butter, the Lord gave pleasure to his pure devotees. Everything the Lord did in Vrindavana was for the pleasure of his associates there. The Lord created these pastimes to attract the dry speculators and the acrobats of the so-called Hatha Yoga system who wish to find the absolute truth. Of the childhood play between the Lord and his playmates, the cohort boys, Sukadeva Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.12.11, Itam Satam Brahma Sukhanubhutya Dasyam Gatanam Paradaivatena Maya Sristanam Nara Daratena Sakam Vijahra Krita Punya Punjaha. The personality of Godhead, who is perceived as the impersonal, blissful Brahman by the Jnani, who is worshipped as the Supreme Lord by devotees in the mode of survivorship, and who is considered an ordinary human being by the mundane people, played with the cowherd boys who had attained their position after accumulating many fierce activities. Thus, the Lord is always engaged in transcendental loving activities with his spiritual associates in the various relationships of Shanta, neutrality, Dasya, servitorship, Sakya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental affection, and Madhurya, conjugal love. Since it is said that Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavana Dhama, one may ask how he manages the affairs of the creation. This is answered in the Bhagavad Gita 13.14 to 1. The Lord pervades the entire material creation by his plenary part known as the Paramatma or Super Soul. Although the Lord personally has nothing to do with the material creation, maintenance, and destruction, he causes all these things to be done by his plenary expansion, the Paramatma. Every living entity is known as Atma, soul, and the principal Atma who controls them all is Paramatma, the Super Soul. This system of God realization is a great science. The materialistic Sankhya yogis can only analyze and meditate on the 24 factors of the material creation, for they have very little information of the Purusha, the Lord, and the impersonal transcendentalists are simply bewildered by the glaring effulgence of the Brahma Jyoti. If one wants to see the absolute truth in full, one has to penetrate beyond the 24 material elements and the glaring effulgence as well. Sri Isopanisad points towards this direction, praying for the removal of the Hiranyamaya Patra, the dazzling covering of the Lord. Unless this covering is removed, so one can perceive the real face of the personality of Godhead. Actual realization of the absolute truth can never be achieved. The Paramatma feature of the personality of Godhead is one of the three planetary expansions, or Vishnu Tattvas, collectively known as the Purusha Avataras. One of these Vishnu Tattvas who is within the universe is known as Kshirodakasai Vishnu. He is the Vishnu among the three principal deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and he is the all-pervading Paramatma in each and every individual living entity. The second Vishnu Tattva within the universe is Garbhodakasai Vishnu, the collective super soul of all living entities. Beyond these two is Karanodakasai Vishnu, who lies in the cardinal ocean. He is the creator of all universes. The yoga system teaches the serious student to meet the Vishnu Tattvas after going beyond the 24 material elements of the cosmic creation. The culture of empiric philosophy helps one realize the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, which is the glaring effulgence of the transcendental body of Lord Sri Krishna. That the Brahma Jyoti is Krishna's effulgence is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita as well as Brahma Samhita 5.40. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagat Anda Koti Kotisva Tesha Vasudadi Vibhuti Dhinam Tad Brahman Nishkalam Anantam Asesha Bhutani. Asesha Bhutam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. In the millions and millions of universes, there are innumerable planets, and each and every one of them is different from the others by its cosmic constitution. All of these planets are situated in a corner of the Brahma Jyoti. This Brahma Jyoti is but the personal rays of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead Govinda, whom I worship. This mantra from the Brahma Samhita is spoken from the platform of actual realization of the Absolute Truth, and the Shruti mantra of the Isopanisad under discussion confirms this mantra as a process of realization. The Isopanisad mantra is a simple prayer to the Lord to remove the Brahma Jyoti so that one can see his real face. This Brahma Jyoti effulgence is described in detail in several mantras of the Mundaka Upanishad 2.10 to 12. Hiranmaye Parakose Virajam Brahma Nishkalam Tat Chaturbhuj Chidram Jyotisham Jyotis Tad Yad Atma Vido Viduhu Na Tatra Suryo Bhati Na Chandra Tarakam Nema Vidhito Bhanti Kuto Yam Agnisha Tam Eva Bhantam Anubhati Pramani Tasya Bhasa Sarvam Idam Vibhati Brahmaivedam Amritam Purastar Brahma Paschat Brahma Dakshinatas Kotarena Adhas Kodvai Cha Prasrutam Brahmamayi Vedam Visvam Idam Varishtam. In the spiritual realm, beyond the material covering is the unlimited Brahman effulgence, which is free from material contamination. That effulgent white light is understood by transcendentalists to be the light of all light. In that realm, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity for illumination. Indeed, whatever illumination appears in the material world is only a reflection of that supreme illumination. That Brahman is in front and in back and in the north, south, east, and west, and also overhead and below. In other words, that Supreme Brahman effulgence is stretched throughout both the material and spiritual side. Perfect knowledge means knowing the Krishna as the root of this Brahman effulgence. This knowledge can be gained from such scriptures as Srimad Bhagavatam, which perfectly elaborates the science of Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the author, Srila Prabhupada, has established that one will describe the Supreme Truth as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan according to one's realization of him. Srila Vyasadeva never states that Supreme Truth is a Jiva, an ordinary living entity. The living entity should never be considered the all-powerful Supreme Truth. If he were the Supreme, he would not need to pray to the Lord to remove his dazzling cover, so that the living entity could see his real face. The conclusion is that one who has no knowledge of the potencies of the Supreme Truth will realize the impersonal Brahman. Similarly, when one realizes the material potencies of the Lord but has little or no information of the spiritual potencies, he attains Paramatma realization. Thus, both Brahman and Paramatma realization of the Absolute Truth are partial realizations. However, when one realizes the Supreme Personality of God is Sri Krishna in full potency after the removal of Chandramayana Patra, one realizes Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Bhagavad Gita 7.1. Lord Sri Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva, is everything. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Who is Bhagavan? The root. And the Brahman and Paramatma are his branches. In the Bhagavad Gita 6.4.6-4.7, there is a comparative analysis of the three types of transcendentalists. The worshippers of the impersonal Brahman, Jnani. The worshippers of the Paramatma feature, Yogis. And the devotees of Lord Sri Krishna, Bhaktas. It is stated there that the Jnani, those who have cultivated Vedic knowledge, are better than ordinary fruited workers. That the yogis are still greater than the Jnanis, and that among all yogis, those who constantly serve the Lord with all their energies are the top. In summary, a philosopher is better than a laboring man, a mystic is superior to a philosopher, and of all the mystic yogis, he who follows Bhakti Yoga, constantly engaging in the service of the Lord, is the highest. The Isopanisad directs us towards this perfection. Hare Krishna.
He is praying to the Lord to show his beautiful form. So in this verse, Lord Krishna is the ultimate source and maintainer of all spiritual and material manifestations, and he engages in variegated relationship with his devotees. That has been discussed. So here, impersonal versus Krishna's personal form. So what is Krishna's position? How can we see this position of Krishna and proof of how personal form is highest realized? This is discussed in this verse. So Krishna is a source of impersonal Brahman. Like the diagram which I showed last time. The Lord is in Golok Vrindavan, and from his bodily effulgence, the Brahma Jyoti is separating material world and spiritual world. And in that material world, there are three Vishnus. First one is Karmakshresh Vishnu. He is a Paramatma for entire material existence. And then in Garbhadaksh, in every Brahmanda, there is a Garbhadaksh Vishnu. He is a Paramatma for that Brahmanda. And then in Srilaprabhupada Vishnu is manifested with along with Brahma Vishnu Mahesh, and that Srilaprabhupada Vishnu, he expands into every living entity. So that is the So this way, Lord is beyond Srilaprabhupada Vishnu, Lord is beyond Garbhadaksh Vishnu, Lord is beyond Mahavishnu, Lord is beyond the Brahman effulgence. So he is in spiritual world, Krishna. Here Mahavishnus are there. But speaking about Bhagavan, that Krishna is, he is in spiritual. So there he is situated. And from him, everything is getting, he is a source for everybody. He is maintaining everyone. So that way, the Lord is situated. And Lord is always in bliss. He is a transcendental personification of bliss. So, I will try to show one verse. That he kills demons for the pleasure of his devotees. I'll show now. So this is in Paramatma Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami. That he is quoting a verse from Padma Purana. Muhurtenapi samhartum shakto yadyapi danavam madbhaktanam vinodhartam karomi vividha kriya darshana dhyana samsparshe matsya kurma vihangama swanapatyani pushnanti tathamapi padmaja. So Lord can kill demons within a moment, but he plays around with those demons and he kills them after a long time, so that his devotees will get pleasure. Like a hero, if he kills immediately villain, then there will be no much rust. But there is fighting. Sometimes it appears he is losing. Sometimes he is like just lost his life. But then again he comes out victoriously and then he kills villain. Then it gives joy to the people. So same way for devotees' pleasure, Krishna kills these demons by doing many activities. So this way he kills the demons. Okay. Then why? By what way he protects his devotees? So Lord quotes 3 ways. By all these 3 ways, he protects his devotees. Darshana, Dhyana, Samsparsha. By glancing, by thinking, and by touching. By all these 3 means, Lord is always protecting his devotees. So he gives the example of animals, how they protect their children. So a fish, she protects her offspring by looking at them, by glancing at them. That is darshan. So fish is protecting her offspring by darshan. And tortoise lays eggs on the beach, and the tortoise goes in deep in the ocean. But although the tortoise in the ocean, the tortoise is meditating on the eggs which she has laid down. And by that, the warmth of mother's thinking of them, the eggs hatch and the baby turtles, they come out. So this is a dhyan. And the third example Krishna gives is samsparsha, by warmth of touch. So the birds, they sit on the eggs, and by their warmth, the eggs hatch and the baby birds, they come out. So in material world, these animals are taking care of their dependents by looking at them, or by thinking of them, or by giving the bodily warmth. But Lord is doing by all the 3 means, he is protecting his devotees. So being as a Paramatma within the heart, the Lord is protecting every one of us. We may have left him, but he has not left us. We may go any low bodies, lower species bodies. Even humans may not like to look at the lower bodies. But Lord Paramatma, he is there with them in those ghastly bodies also. So Lord is always giving his special care to us by being Paramatma in the heart. And as a Mahavishnu, he is always glancing. Although the Lord is sleeping, from his pores, the many Brahmandas are coming. But by glancing, he is always protected. And Krishna is by thinking of us. Although we are in material world, we may not think about him, but Krishna is always thinking about us, that when will come back. So that way, Lord is always taking care of us. So if we want to see him, then we should not stop at Brahma Jyoti. We should not think that the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence, is all in all. But beyond that effulgence, there is a Supreme Lord. Krishna is residing there with his devotees in the spiritual world. So that darshan we should aspire for. Where Lord is playing with his friends, where Lord is chastised by his mother, he's getting bound by his mother, and the covered girls are dancing with him like that. So many pastimes Lord is doing. So for dry speculators and other hati yogis, they cannot joke with him, they cannot tie him, they cannot make him cry. So these things they cannot, it's out of their box. They just want, he should look at them. They also will not do anything, and they don't want from him also anything. So such a dry speculators and hati yogis, they cannot understand the transcendental form of the Lord. So the Lord, he is reciprocating with his devotees in 5 vessels. Shanta Das's Sat. So that's why here Prabhupada is quoting the famous verse, Ityam Satam Brahma Sukhanubhutya Maya Shritanam Naradarakim. So for Brahma Sukha people, he is just effulgence. They are happy with his effulgence. Or those who are controlled by the material nature, those who are in the material clutches of material nature, they think him as an ordinary person. Naradarakim. He is an ordinary human being. Devotees, he is life and soul, and they give him the most enjoyment, and they are playing with him. They are making him to carry them, and sometimes they carry him. So they are extremely fortunate people. We cannot imagine their pious accumulation. How much piety they have accumulated. It's beyond anybody's estimation. So this is not piety earned by karma. This piety is not of going to heavenly planets. This piety is purely one has achieved by the mercy of spiritual master, by rendering pure devotion service to Krishna, and by attempting a pure Krishna conscious practice. So out of 64, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told that at least one should do 5 glimpses of devotion service. That is Nama Sankirtan, Vatravas, then Bhagavad Shravan, Vigraha Seva, and Sadhu Sangha, devotee association. So at least we should do these 5 things. Chanting holy names, associating with devotees, hearing Bhagavatam, and staying in holy place. What is remaining? Chanting his holy names. So these 5 things we should do. So at least by doing that, assets will increase, and by that we will not halt at Brahma Jyoti, but we will cross over at Brahma Jyoti to the abode of Supreme Lord, that is Golok Vrindavan. So how can we see this complete form of the Lord? Those who fail, they get carried away by 24 elements of material creation, and others, impersonalists, they get bewildered by the effulgence. But devotee, he succeeds ahead. He goes beyond Mahavishnu, he goes beyond Brahmajyoti. He sees Lord directly in Vaikuntha and in Golokona. So that way, a devotee will succeed. So this is the highest realization of Krishna. So Krishna is a root for all this other realization, Paramatma and Brahman. So there are various verses are quoted by Prabhupada. So by studying Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we should realize the personal form of the Lord, the personal pastime which Krishna has done. So Krishna, the 10th canto, directly shows us what all, loving, reciprocating pastimes are happening with the Supreme Lord. And that Supreme Lord is not ordinary person. He is not ordinary lusty boy. He is not ordinary person who is running behind woman. So to understand his supremacy, one has to learn and one should learn the 9 cantos before the 10th canto. So by learning 9 cantos, we can understand the one who is playing with the boys in Golok Vrindavan. He is not an ordinary person. He is a Supreme Lord. And that Supreme Lord is enchanted by the devotional service of his devotees. He is ready to get beaten, he is ready to get bound, he is ready to get served. He serves his devotees like that. The Lord is out of the world, he is reciprocating with his devotees. That none of the Brahmajyoti cannot do, nor the Paramatma can do such a reciprocation with their devotees. So such a highest, ultimate loving reciprocations are happening between the devotees by the Lord. That should be appealing to our hearts. So we want to see that form of Lord Krishna. Okay. So if you have any questions, please ask. Otherwise, we'll conclude. Okay, then I'll stop recording and I will ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, what is Mundaka Upanishad? Says here.
So there are 108 Upanishads. So it is one of it. So that we have to read. It is there in the purport. So
Okay, Prabhuji.
So I'll stop this and I will make an announcement. Next, this Thursday, coming Thursday, our class will not be there because I'm not in the town. So we'll meet on next Tuesday. Only now 2 verses are remaining. 16 and 16, 17, 18. 3 verses are remaining. That will complete by next week. Okay? So please take note of this. Who is batch coordinator? He is there today?
No, Prabhuji. Sanjay Prabhuji is not there.
So please somebody can tell him.
Sure.
So that he can put it. So we'll meet on next Tuesday. So thank you for all of you for your kind attention. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.